Hey guys, this is Jesse Aquino, founder of Sudsbox, and this is episode number 1 of our paint correction series for detailing cars. I'm going to be going through with you guys machines, pads, arm movement, all things you guys got to know. Today we're going to be focusing on pads. Make sure if you guys find this information useful that you guys save, share, like, comment, because that helps us and it'll help you in the future. So here I have 4 of the most popular pads that people are going to use when polishing their car. So I'm going to try and go from the most aggressive to the least aggressive. Now these two can interchange, but the first is a microfiber cutting pad. They have different densities of them and thicknesses. So these actually can be, one of the most cutting pads that you'll find. The microfiber cutting pad, what makes it cut so much is it actually has microfibers that actually grab the paint. So when it's going around in circles or oscillating, rotating, it's actually grabbing the paint. So that's why this pad is really aggressive. But with all of that cutting power, you're going to build up a lot of heat with microfiber cutting pads, and you're going to have to blow them out, clean them out a lot often than like foam pads. The microfiber cutting pad will also leave more of a haze, so you're not going to get as much of a deep, dark clarity as you would as like a finishing pad. But this is all going to depend on how like your paint is, if it's soft or hard or standard. Next we have the wool pad. This is specifically for dual action, so it's a little bit different. This is the Rupes version. What's so great about these pads are they really cut well and they really finish out well, something that sometimes a microfiber cutting pad doesn't always do. And this is going to actually give you less heat than the microfiber cutting pad. In my opinion, I would rather use the wool pad just because I think it's a better user experience, and there's just like an easier learning curve to use wool pads versus the microfiber cutting pads. But the wool pad is going to be very similar to a microfiber cutting pad because you're going to need to blow out the residue after every section. And the next 2 types of pads are both foam pads. One is a polishing and then one is a finishing. I have 2 types here. They make all different kinds of firmnesses for them. So you can get really hard foam pads, or you can get really soft. Right here is like a medium. This is a polishing foam pad, we call it. And then here we have a finishing foam pad. A polishing foam pad is going to be a little bit harder than, let's say, a finishing pad. A finishing pad, if we were to both push this down at the same time, there's going to be more compression on the white pad because it's softer. Foam pads are the most popular because the learning curve is super easy and they're just a joy to work with. They're really easy to work with because you don't have to clean them out as much as like a microfiber or wool pad. Foam pads are generally going to leave the best finish. So you're going to get the darkest, you're going to get the most clarity out of a foam pad. And also foam pads seem to be the most popular just because they're going to leave the best finishing look for your car. So more often than not, you're going to be using a foam pad for your last step. Now, after learning about all these pads, I want you guys to not think of it as like, hey, the yellow pad is the best for all situations, because it's not like that. There's so many different types of paints. Like there's soft, there's hard, there's standard, there could be sticky paint, and you're going to need to know which pad works for that paint. So like I said, there is no right choice for every type of paint. Every type of paint is just going to be different. One example is like one time I worked on a Jeep and I had holograms. There was holograms on the car that like a dealership left over. I actually ended up using the microfiber cutting pad, and sometimes that leaves hazing. Most of the time it's going to, but that particular paint, it ended up leaving a really bright finish where I didn't need to use a softer pad after that. And that was even with the compound. And then there was another time where I worked on a Volkswagen and I needed to get swirls out, and a microfiber cutting pad wouldn't even touch them. The paint was like cement. This is why I want to share with you guys all the ins and outs of pads in this series, because like I said, there's so many different situations. You guys got to know what you have to do, especially if you're starting a detailing business. You have to know in what situations you need to use these pads. If you guys enjoyed this series, make sure you guys save, share, comment, like. It all helps us, and I'll be back for more. This is just episode 1, guys. I have so many coming for you guys. Thank you.